The Dhammapada, Yamaka Vagga, a journey to the heart of duality. In this video, we explore the Yamaka Vagga, the first chapter of the Dhammapada, one of the most profound and sacred texts in Buddhism. This chapter, known as the Chapter of Pairs, teaches us about the duality of life, good and evil, purity and impurity, happiness and suffering. Today we present Sacred Book's Dhammapada, Yamaka Vagga, the Pairs. The mind precedes all things. The mind is their leader. They are made of mind. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows as the wheel follows the ox's hoof. This verse reminds us of the fundamental power of our thoughts. Our actions and words are mere manifestations of what resides in our minds. A mind contaminated by negativity can only generate suffering. The mind precedes all things. The mind is their leader. They are made of mind. If one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like a shadow that never departs. The counterpart of impurity is purity. Cultivating positive and virtuous thoughts is the key to a full and happy life. Happiness becomes our constant companion. He insulted me, he hit me, he beat me, he robbed me. Those who harbor such thoughts, their hatred will not cease. Resentment and revenge only perpetuate the cycle of suffering. Holding on to resentment keeps us tied to the past, preventing us from moving toward peace. He has insulted me. He has beaten me. He has beaten me. He has robbed me. Those who do not harbor such thoughts, their hatred will certainly cease. Compassion and forgiveness are the most powerful weapons against hatred. Freeing ourselves from resentment allows us to heal and build more harmonious relationships. For hatred never ceases with hatred in this world, but with love. This is an eternal law. Others do not know that we must die here, but those who do know, their dissension ceases. These verses emphasize the importance of compassion and awareness of impermanence in overcoming conflict. Recognizing the transience of life helps us put problems into perspective and cultivate inner peace. He who lives contemplating the pleasant with uncontrolled senses, intemperate in food, lazy, weak in spirit, surely Mara will overthrow him, as the wind overthrows a weak tree. He who lives contemplating the unpleasant, with controlled senses, moderate in food, full of faith, strong in spirit, surely Mara will not overthrow him, as the wind does not overthrow a rocky mountain. These verses warn us about the dangers of complacency and the importance of discipline in achieving enlightenment. Constant practice and mindfulness strengthen us against temptations. He who, without being pure, will put on the saffron robe, without self-control, devoid of truth, is not worthy of the saffron robe. But he who is pure will put on the saffron robe, with self-control, endowed with truth, is worthy of the saffron robe. These verses highlight the importance of authenticity and integrity in spiritual practice. Outward appearance is not enough. True transformation must come from within. Thinking that in the unreal there is reality, and seeing unreality in the real, those who feed on wrong thoughts never attain the real. But thinking that in the real there is reality, and seeing reality in the real, those who feed on right thoughts attain the real. These verses invite us to question our perceptions and seek the truth beyond appearances. Wisdom lies in the ability to discern between the illusory and the true. As rain penetrates a poorly roofed house, so passion penetrates an uncultivated mind. As rain does not penetrate a well-roofed house, so passion does not penetrate a well-cultivated mind. These verses illustrate the importance of protecting our minds from negative influences. Meditation and consistent practice strengthen our minds and protect us from suffering. Here he grieves, in the hereafter he grieves, the evildoer grieves in both places. He grieves and laments at the sight of the impurity of his own actions. Here he rejoices, in the hereafter he rejoices, the good doer rejoices in both places. He rejoices and rejoices at the sight of the purity of his own actions. These verses remind us of the consequences of our actions. Cultivating kindness and compassion brings us joy both in this life and the next. Here he grieves, in the hereafter he grieves, the evildoer grieves in both places. He grieves thinking, I have done evil. he grieves even more by going to a state of suffering. Here he rejoices, in the hereafter he rejoices, the good doer rejoices in both places. He rejoices thinking, I have done good. He rejoices even more by going to a state of happiness. These verses emphasize the power of repentance and joy in shaping our destiny. Recognizing our mistakes and celebrating our virtues guides us toward a better future. Even if he recites many texts, but does not act upon them, that careless person is like a shepherd who counts another's cattle. He does not share in the blessings of the contemplative life. Even if he recites few texts but acts upon them, abandoning passion, hatred, and delusion, with true knowledge, with a well-liberated mind, without clinging to anything in this world or the hereafter, he shares in the blessings of the contemplative life. These verses remind us that knowledge without action is useless. True wisdom is manifested in practice and liberation from suffering. Yamaka Vagga offers us a profound reflection on duality and the path to liberation. I invite you to meditate on these verses, apply them to your daily life, and share this message with those seeking inner peace. Visit our channel if you'd like to see each verse and its reflection. Subscribe to the channel for more inspiring content and leave us a comment about how this video impacted you. May peace be with you. Transform your life today. Discover a journey of self-improvement, spiritual growth, and motivation.